The beauty of a work of art will always remain mysterious. That is to say, one will never be able to discover how it was done. So wrote Claude Debussy in 1913 in an article about taste. He was speaking of music, but he also could have been describing this man and his work. Jean-Antoine Watteau, and I'm saying Watteau because that's the way Philippe de Montebello pronounces it. There's been a lot of discussion about this in the past weeks. Thanks to a flowering of Watteau scholarship in the last 15 years or so, we know much more about him and how he did it. His Flemish roots, his love of Rubens, of Veronese, and the Venetian painters, the jewel-like tones in his work. His work, when he first came to Paris, with the set designer Claude Gillot, and how much he learned there about theater. He also made friends with many actors and musicians. So when he was sketching and drawing all the time. So when we see a picture, Watteau, picture of a musician, it's really the way it looks and the way a musician really plays an instrument. Also, he became very friendly with the Commedia dell'arte troops which were still in Paris, although they had been banned from their theater in 1697 by Louis XIV. Still, they were appearing at all the fairs around town and in the marketplaces, and they were everywhere. So they're very much part of Watteau's work. All these things give us eyeglasses to see his work more clearly. I am not a scholar, I am a musician. And I ask, why then does Watteau's painting remain so mysterious? We know so much about it, and yet it's so mysterious still. How does he keep us held fast in his web of sensibilité? Why do we feel, as we gaze at a fête galante, beautifully dressed people in a wild, tree-filled park, why do we feel an allusion to our own inner selves? Why are we so seduced by him? I hope you all saw the show. I hope that if you didn't yet, that you'll go and see the show after this concert. Where does the strange sadness come from that we feel when we look at his works? My own answer for myself, and I hope you'll come on this journey with me, is that Watteau's paintings are music. It's not that we hear or imagine music when we see them or look at them, although there's plenty of musicians, there's plenty of dancing going on. No, it's more than that. Consider this. Watteau's art holds us in the way that we are held as we listen to a great piece of music. We are, on the one hand, in time because of the rhythms and the progressions and the resolutions or non-resolutions. We're in time, but at the same time, we are out of time. The world around us disappears, and we are in the moment. We're held there. Watteau's art is a kind of sublime chamber music. He holds us in the net of the personal interplay, the phrasing, the longing, the ornamentation of his figures. I'd like to draw an arc in this hour we have together tonight between Watteau, 3 images from the show, and 2 great composers of his epoch, and we'll be hearing the music of those composers. And I hope this will bring you pleasure. The composers are François Couperin, Le Grand, came from a great Paris family of musicians. He's an almost exact contemporary of Watteau. He was court musician to Louis XIV during his later years. He wrote chamber music. He was the head of chamber music for the court. He instructed the royal children. And like Watteau, he loved Italian art and music and incorporated it into his oeuvre. He was a great keyboardist, and he left us a great legacy of masterworks and books about how to play them, how to ornament them. The other composer tonight, not Rameau, because we found his music didn't work as well for modern instruments as we had hoped, but Jean-Marie Leclerc, a giant of the 17th to 18th century. He was a bit later than Couperin. He was working mostly during the regency of the Duc d'Orléans, and he served Louis XV for a while. He was born in Lyon. He originally was a dancer himself, and he married a dancer. And then this was in Torino. Then he came to Paris, and he had fallen in love with the music, the great string music of Corelli and Locatelli. So he became a violinist and was one of the giants of the sonata form. He is one of the ones who kind of invented that form and brought it to France and elevated the violin from an instrument just to be played at dances, country fiddle, to an instrument which could be played at court. He wrote a huge amount of violin sonatas, and luckily he wrote a few flute sonatas too, so we're going to be playing a couple of those tonight. So, let us look at some images here. Let me see if I can do this. Is that music or what? That's music to me. This is called Love in the French Theater. It's possibly a performance of a known work, possibly by Lully, possibly another playwright, but we don't know. There's so many things we don't know. We don't know whether it's day or night. We don't know whether it's a theater set. It looks pretty much like one, and it does look like theatrical lighting. Oh, I forgot to use this. Look at this. Is it on? Yes. All right, so here's the little bit of sky that you can see. Here are the dancers in the middle. And can you see the music between them? She's holding her skirt. She's about to take a step. This foot is so beautiful. There's a blush on her cheek. And he, the ardent swain here with his shapely calves. This is all the shapeliness of form, the artful body, the elegance of form that the French loved so much. He's highly decorated. Between him are three figures, between the two of them. On the right, Amour, a grown-up Cupid, looking very, very smart here. He's got feathers in his cap. He's got his arrows here, beautiful boots, silk jacket. He's definitely a man of power and purpose. Big troublemaker. And on the left, another troublemaker here, Bacchus, Dionysus. He's got in his hair grape leaves. Also, the whole column to the side here is decorated with grape leaves, if you can see. His beautiful naked foot is reclining on these draperies here. And he and Amour are drinking a toast. See the wine glasses there. They are definitely agreeing about something. There are some observers to the side, beautifully dressed ladies from the village. Not theater people, because they don't have the ruff around the neck. This might be a theater person here. There with their lovely bows in their hair. Here is a character from theater named Crispin, who was a servant, a wily servant in the theater, traditional role, and he's looking out at us. And the god Momos of satire is up here enthroned on the column. And over here, the musicians, there they are. There's their tambourine, a large hand drum, really. Here are the musette, bagpipes, which was an erotic symbol often in painting. I don't know if you can see this clearly, but there's a violinist right behind him. And what is fascinating to me about this picture is it's about French art and French theater. And during this time, there was a great distrust of Italian style. There were words that were used to describe Italian style, which made it so different from the purity of the French style. The French style was described with words such as beauté, beauty, calme, douceur, grâce, élégant, touchant, tendresse. All these things were to describe French music, French art. And then critics used words like this to describe Italian music: bizarre, bruit, noise, extravagance, fureur, rage, violence, colère. They were very distrustful of the freedom and exuberance of the Italian artists. But the composers you're going to hear tonight were very much in love with Italian art and combined them. Couperin even wrote a whole series of suites called Les Goûts Réunis, the combination of tastes, because he felt very much that the Italian style had lived happily with the French style in the French Republic of Music, as he put it, for many years. So you'll see right in the corner there they are, the Commedia dell'arte characters. There's Pierrot. Harlequin is there too. They're kind of waiting in the sidelines. Now, here they are. There they are. Oh, I love this painting. Oh, Gosh. This is one of the only Watteau paintings which is, we can tell for sure that it's at night. There's the moon in the corner. And here are the Commedia characters. Here's Metropolitan, who is in the what do we call it? The main image of this show, the symbolic image of this show. Here he is again. Very different in his demeanor and bearing from the French dancers. A little pot belly even there, and he's got his feet sort of pointing out funny. And here's Pierrot with his pants. They're not elegant. They're Commedia characters. They're artists. Harlequin is there. And there's our Pierrot, which in a way is kind of maybe a symbol of Watteau in certain ways. His longing, his unrequited love. There he is playing the guitar beautifully. There's Colombina, most probably, wearing her ruff. There's a lady with a mask. And there's the doctor, Dottore there. And here's the young man with a lantern. And here's Scaramouche. Here's a mysterious fellow. We don't know exactly who he is. But the music of this picture is, to me, just extraordinary. It's balanced in a funny way. It has an arc over it. It's as if they're poised, they're waiting, they're speaking to us. And the sound, they're not uttering words, but the sound of their music is very much traveling to us. What we have next. We're going to play soon. The next one is, here we go, Les plaisirs du bal, the pleasures of the dance. And everyone is here. And this whole painting is intensely musical. All of us were thinking that as we were rehearsing here in front of it. The lines of the arcs there, the lines almost like lines of music on the columns, and the traveling of above, the erotic pulsation of the fountain in the background. The dancing couple in the middle, very much the foot raised and the arm curved in the symbol of the dance, and the woman with her skirts raised, just about. There are always dogs running around. And here are the musicians on the right. Here we go. Here's a bass player, Nilsson Mata, maybe. It looks sort of like him. Let's see. Here a violinist. Here's an oboist. And here is a Dutch man with in Netherlandish costume here. Here is a tribute to Veronese, a woman in a black dress being served. Here's the tremendous feast they're going to have. Here's again someone looking at us. All these phrasings are happening all at once. A seduction is going on right here, another one here, many over here. If you get a chance to look very, very closely, they are busy. They are at work. They're not even watching the dancers, I don't think. And there's the jester taking a little break there. And to see how we're kind of thrown off balance. The dancers are here, but the great sweep of the people watching and going about their business and their lovemaking on the side. Very, very eloquent. And just before I leave you, I just want to show you a special guest also at this occasion. There's Pierrot, right in the back there. And Harlequin, you can't really see him, but he's right next to him. So the Commedia is always there, and their freedom and their love of improvisation. So, the music we're going to play for you, we're going to begin with a Concert Royal of François Couperin, originally written for the harpsichord, but he said it could be played by any different kinds of combinations of instruments. He wrote the pieces, a group of them, to cheer up Louis XIV at the end of his reign when things were really going badly. His dancing days were over. He was at battle all the time. He was losing lots of money. The whole system he had built was about to collapse. And so Couperin wrote these. They all have dance titles, and they're very gallant and elegant, and they were meant to cheer him up. This is extraordinary music, and the ornaments are so beautiful. Then John Gibbons and I are going to play two sonatas for you by Leclerc, very much with the Italian influence and very much filled with gestures. You'll be able to see almost see the gestures of these people we've been just looking at, flirtations. And then in between, we're going to do two pieces. One, a song, a transcription that I made of one of the old airs de cour. These were songs that were sung with lute. Very simple longing. This one is, Que vous me coûtez cher, mon cœur. You will cost me dearly, my heart. Why, cruel love, he was just there a minute ago, right? Do you give us desire? And why, cruel duty, do you prevent us from following our desires? That's the words. And then one other piece, we're going to play a little jewel called Le Rossignol en amour, The Nightingale in Love, by Couperin. And I wanted to dedicate that to two people who are here who are celebrating birthdays. Douglas Townsend is here, he's going to be 88. And Louis Vorhaus, I think, is here, who also has a birthday today. So those are dedicated to him, and also to the memory of Madame de Sévigné, 17th century writer, famous for her letters to her daughter. One evening, she described about how one evening after dinner she walked alone, all by herself, through the garden, and then sat down under a tree and was totally bewildered and unable to think because of the songs of three nightingales singing directly over her. So I hope you will think of her when you're listening. We're going to change the set a little bit here, and we'll be right back. Thank you.